Today we will be learning about the primary structure of protein. This is the introduction of protein structure. We know that protein is composed of a linear chain of amino acids. So they fold into 3D structures and form arrangements. That is, the primary structure can fold to become secondary structure, tertiary structure, and then the quaternary structures. Now, this is the definition of primary structure. We know many amino acids join together to form a linear chain structure, which is referred to as the primary structure of proteins. So, these primary amino acids, this sequence of amino acids join together by the polypeptide chain. So, as we know that the primary structure is composed of the amino acids, so it's important to learn the structure of an amino acid. Amino acid is basically composed of a carbon in the center, which is surrounded by 4 different groups on all the sides. Now see at this. As I told you that the central carbon in an amino acid is surrounded by 4 different groups. So these 4 different groups are amino group, carboxyl group, R group, and hydrogen is also surrounded. Now see at this. This is the primary structure of an amino acid surrounded by 4 different groups. That is a carboxyl acid on one side, amino group, and R group and hydrogen. So these are the 4 different components surrounded on the central atom. Now these are the structures of primary, secondary proteins. The first one is the primary structure of proteins, which is composed of linear amino acid sequence. They are arranged in a linear order, bonded by the peptide bond. This is the secondary structure. The first one is the alpha helix structure, and the second one is the beta pleated structure. Now, focusing on the primary structure of proteins, we know that the amino acid are bonded by the polypeptide bond. So, the peptide bond formation is between the carboxyl and amino group of the 2 amino acids. Water molecules is released during the formation of polypeptide bond. So as I told you that the peptide bond is always between the amino acids carbonyl and amino group. Fine. This is the peptide bond formation in which you can see that the water molecule is being released over here. See H2O. 2 molecules of hydrogen and 1 of oxygen are being released over here, forming a polypeptide bond between the carbonyl group and the amino group of 2 different amino acids. These are the 2 different amino acids, and when you see about the polypeptide bond, we see that 1 molecule of water is being released and the bond is between the carboxylic acid and the amino group. Now, when we see how to draw a primary sequence of proteins, we should take care that 2 amino acids are first being drawn. That is, this is the first amino group. This is the second one. Okay, so in between the amino groups, we have a bond formation between the carboxyl group and the amino group. There is a bond formation. So at very first, a central carbon surrounded by 4 different groups on all the sides, a carboxyl group, hydrogen or R chain, which could be anything, and an amino group on this side. In the same way, the second amino acid on the next amino acid is like this: a central carbon, hydrogen, R chain, carboxyl group, and amino group. So we know the bond is between the amino group and carboxylic acid. So while the bond formation happens, H2O molecules gets released. So this is a peptide bond between the two amino acids, and like this all the linear structures are being formed with a peptide chain in between them. Okay, this is all about the primary structure of proteins. Thank you for listening.